He's already one of the greatest featherweights of all time, but he's also looking to become a bad mother. Shut your mouth. I'm always happy to speak to the great Max Holloway. Max, how are you?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, brother. How you doing today?
I'm fantastic, man. Thank you for taking time for me. It's always been a little while since we chatted, but boy, what a time to talk, man. UFC 300 BMF title fight. Got to be excited about that.
Super excited. Super excited. Man, I can't wait. BMF title, UFC 300. What more can you ask for? I just, you already know how it is. I'm just trying to get options, man. And this fight came to fruition and fruition on a huge card. So I'm happy.
Yeah, talk about willing something into existence. I know you talked to my buddy Mark Raymundi a couple months ago, and you kind of mentioned this as a possibility. And at the time, we heard like Justin Gaethje, he said, I don't want to fight Max. He's just such a nice guy. So how did how did this finally happen? Was it as easy as him just saying, hey, we want to book this? How did it finally happen?
I mean, I just it just kind of happened, I guess. I kind of said that in October. I know, and then we saw the interview with Gaethje saying that kind of stuff. Gaethje's a cool guy, bro. At the end of the day, but with me coming off my two last fights, my two recent fights with Arnold and Korean, them having to announce that the 45 title fight was happening with someone else, that put me in a situation. And then I saw the 55 title got announced at that time was Oliveira and Islam. With him having the BMF belt, I was like, why not? Why wait around? Let's go. Let's get in here, mix it up, and we'll get a payday for both of us and make a fight that no one can forget.
Absolutely. Was there any? So obviously we know that the Oliveira fight didn't happen. Of course, Islam ends up getting the rematch with Volkanovski, gets the knockout. And then, Oliveira gets matched up with Sarukian at 300. And so I just assumed it was going to be Gaethje and Islam for the title. Then they announced your fight. Were you surprised that Gaethje, not that I certainly know Gaethje would never back down from a fight, but were you a little surprised he took it? Because I thought maybe they were still going to try to do Gaethje and Islam.
I mean, if that's not the definition of a BMF, then I don't know what is, At the end of the day, somebody who has a BMF belt, there's only a few that come to mind, and then a few that actually live up to it, and Justin Gaethje is Justin Gaethje is it, and like you said, I was just as surprised as that too, because I thought they would have went the title fight that way too, but they didn't. They made that Charles's fight the number one contender, which is kind of mind blowing at the end of the day, but. We see what happens. We're here. I'm happy, and I get to fight a true BMF in Justin Gaethje, so I'm excited.
Is it kind of wild? A couple years ago when they did the BMF title with Masvidal and Diaz, it was a fun thing. The Rock's out there putting the title on him. It was a cool, fun thing to talk about. But Dana always said, "Yeah, that's it. One-time thing. It was a cool thing." And then a couple years later, out of nowhere, they throw it back out there with Dustin and Justin. And again, kind of made sense. Two badass fighters go out there and put on shows every single time. But once again, it was kind of we're not really looking to defend that title. What do you make of the BMF title? Like you said, there's only certain guys that can fight for it. Like back in the day when we first talked, Max, I always kind of jokingly called you the Hawaiian Diaz brother because you were the guy who just go out there, fight anybody, never back down from a challenge. You were kind of the definition of the BMF.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just things happen for a reason. I mean, they see how much traction this thing is making. They saw, did you not see the whole 300 card? And I know they're still trying to find a main event, at the end of the day. But once they announced my and Justin fight, it's a lot of people's tones started changing against 300. They started getting super just focused on it now. And I guess it is fights happen when you need a saving, So when a card needs a saving, and we're here now, and I'm happy to share the octagon with Justin Gaethje, and I think so. We're gonna put on a performance that night that no one's gonna forget, man. It's gonna be a fun, It's I think you can ask everybody in the MMA community if me myself or Justin had a boring fight, and they're just gonna look at each other, scratch their head because they can't name none.
Absolutely. I'm just curious. We know there hasn't been a main event announced yet. I know we've heard rumors maybe they're going to do Leon and Bilal there. I know we heard rumors maybe, they're going to try to do something with Drakus and maybe Israel, but again, we don't know for sure. Is there a world where Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje could be the main event? I mean, would you be down for that?
I mean, we're fighting 5 rounds. You know what I mean? I'm fighting him 5 rounds already, so I really don't care where we're on the card. If we got the main event, a big card like 300, that'd be super dope. But at the end of the day, not stressing it too much. A fight is a fight. I don't care where they put us on the card. As long as I got to be on 300 card, I was happy. Having an opponent in Justin Gaethje, even more happy, even more stoked. So at the end of the day, I just can't wait. If it's the main event slot, it's the main event slot. If not, it is what it is. We be in that card, and I'm just stoked to be a part of it.
If nothing else, it'll be the people's main event, right? Like, it may be second on the card, but it'll be the people's main event, right?
Yes, sir, man. Whenever myself or Gaethje's on the card, I think so. It's most of the time our fights is people's main events, because they know what they get, and when you see us on the card, they know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get your bang for your buck, and I just can't wait to go out there and give the fans a treat.
Yeah. Now you knew Justin a little bit. Like, I know that you trained together or anything, but you've known him a little bit, right? Like in the past, you guys have kind of your best friends or anything, but you guys have known each other a little bit, right?
Yeah. Gaethje's a cool dude. Gaethje's a cool dude. Not many people know that a story before I was fighting, before he was in the UFC, before he was like I think so even with his PFL run before, I think so he was starting as pro. I was out there fighting. Went to Denver, I fought Justin Lawrence. Forget what number that was. The Ben Henderson versus somebody. I think so. It was Frankie. And we went early because it was at Denver. And we set up with someone. Things fell through. Gaethje ended up helping us out. Picked us up and drove us around for a couple of days. So the guy was a cool guy. Not gonna ever forget one of those. We're not gonna ever forget that week. And he's here now. We're facing for the BMF, and it's a wild ride.
Yeah, is it like, I remember when you were going to fight the Korean Zombie, like there was nothing but the utmost respect in asking for that fight and getting that fight, and you ended up being his final fight. Is it kind of the same thing with Gaethje, where like, because I know he had said like, I don't want to fight Max, he's like too nice of a guy. But is it kind of the same thing here, where it's like you guys are fighting, you're going to go out there and put it on, you guys are going to put on each other for 5 rounds, however long it lasts, but this is really a sign of respect that you guys are fighting each other.
Oh, for sure, 100%. Hey, Gaethje is a legend not only in his division, he's a legend in all of MMA, and these are the kind of fights that excite me. And this is just one of the options. Having in this sport, having options, being able to do certain stuff. With everything, like I said before. But everybody being booked at our different weight classes, only made sense, for to have a BMF fight, be here and putting us on a huge card. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to share the octagon with a guy like Gaethje. He's definitely gonna be a Hall of Famer. So, at the end of the day, this is what BMFs do. They take fights, they fight each other, and they show the world what's up.
Now, part of the reason you've earned BMF title, you've earned the title of a BMF many, many times throughout your career. You almost stepped up and fought Khabib Nurmagomedov on short notice, and if it wasn't for the commission, you would have had a chance to lightweight title back then. When they needed an interim title fight at lightweight, you stepped up and fought Dustin Poirier. Here you are again doing this. But can I ask, Max, like you've done lightweight a couple of times, from the Dustin Poirier fight to now, what's the biggest lesson you learned in terms of fighting at lightweight? Because obviously you battled it out, and there's certainly no shame in going 5 rounds with a guy like Dustin Poirier. But what would you say is the biggest thing you've learned about that experience? And then fighting, I would say this, he's a similar kind of guy, high volume, nasty striker, all those kind of things. Like, what lesson did you learn from that last trip to lightweight that you feel like you carry forward into this one?
I think my eating habits better. My training is better. That was like 4 years ago. I believe I'm stronger. I believe I'm smarter. I just got a lot of things more in check than when I had it. No excuse at last fight. I hate making excuses, but it's just I was just not just an overweight 45er. You might say in that one. But this one is just it's going to be different. And I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's going to be different. And you guys get to see April 13th of why it's going to be different, and I can't wait to show the world. A lot of people like talking about that fight and this and that, and because of what Gaethje did in his last fight. The beautiful thing is we get to find out April 13th, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to show the world what we've been working on. I can't wait to show people what we've been working on. And, I feel good. I feel great. And like I said, it's options, at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's just having options, Being able to go to 45 is easy. Going up to 55 is easy. So I just can't wait to go out there and, show out.
You've always talked about, lightweight could be your future. That was always a possibility. And now that you're doing it a little differently in terms of your nutrition, I imagine strength and conditioning, all those kind of things to get ready. Like, you got to beat Justin Gaethje. Yes, it makes you the BMF champion, but you also just took out the number one contender in the division. And, and obviously Islam's out there. We know the fight with Charles and Arman, but is there a chance that, like, this could potentially mean like a more permanent move to lightweight? Like, if everything goes well, like, you would immediately become the number one contender. Like, I know the BMF title is awesome, but really, in reality, he's the number one guy. Like, is there a world where this goes well and you stick around to lightweight?
First things first is Justin Gaethje, First things first is Justin Gaethje, and we see what happens, I hate looking forward. I hate saying with this or that. But what I do like to say is, like how I've been saying, is just I have options, I really want my 45 title back, and I thought I did enough to get one more shot, but then they went a different way with the title shot. So, at the end of the day, this opportunity came up, and, how can you say no? But everything goes good, everything goes great, then I'll have more options, say the least, Damien. So we see what happens.
Absolutely. Can I, I don't get into strategy, that kind of question or anything like that, but I'm curious, like, for a big part of Gaethje's career, I nicknamed him the human car crash. Like, you would get in a fight with that dude. Even if you won, you didn't win because you walked away with your legs beat up, your arms beat up, your face bruised up and cut. Like, you just did not walk away from a Justin Gaethje fight unscathed, even if you beat the guy. But he's kind of altered. He's kind of changed a little bit recently, where he's been a little bit more measured. He hasn't been as wild. You look at the fight with Fiziev. Really fun performance, and again, still fight of the night, but he didn't go out there and get too wild. I think we saw in the Poirier fight, like, he didn't really engage in those kind of wild exchanges, and then he gets the knockout. Like, have you been impressed by what you've seen out, like, the little differences in what Justin Gaethje's kind of become lately?
Yeah, man, he's a beast. Having a coach in Trevor Whitten, they're super smart, they're super analysts, and, like, yeah, you said, I think so. He is taking a step back in his brawling. In his brawling ways, and, like, his that fight over in London, he really used his jabs a lot. He looked real good, picking his shots a little bit more. So we see it happens, We see it happens, Everybody got a plan until we go in there, we get punched in the face, things change. So at the end of the day, guy's a beast, guy's a legend, Honored to step in the same octagon with him, and I look forward to the challenge. I can't wait. We got the BMF title on the line, and I'm just excited, man. I'm excited to be a part of UFC 300. Have him against the octagon, and it's going to be exciting, man. Every time I think about it, it brings a smile to my face.
Absolutely. You've made history a lot. I was at the fight with Jose Aldo. I was at the rematch, I was at the fight in Detroit. You've been a part of a lot of historic moments in your career. I know there's still a dream out there that the UFC will one day go to Hawaii. Don't get me started on that one, because I've been there for Hawaii for Rumble on the Rock back in the day, and I know what it's like out there. But is it like, do you still get excited and kind of geeked out about, like, fighting on a card like 300? Like, is that still kind of a cool moment for you, just to be, because I'm sure you would have fought Gaethje, a parking lot fight if that's what the UFC wanted, but being 300, like, it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. No. Being in 300 is super huge. I was talking to my agent Tim, and I was harassing him, bro. I was harassing him every day, like, brother, please get me on this 300. I don't care who it is. I don't fight anyone. Get me on this 300 card. Get me on this 300 card. And then this fight came to fruition. Like, no better fight to ask to get on 300. Like, I've been telling everybody, I'm not gonna be around for 400. I missed the chance of being on 200. So being here, being able to be on 300 is just so amazing. It's a blessing, and I can't wait to go out there and have fun and show people why I belong in this card.
I don't know, man. 400. Come on now. You're only 32. You got time. You could do it. You could.
Maybe. We see how it is.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. Like, there is still part of you, of course, that wants to get that featherweight title back. And I think after you beat Arnold Allen, you beat Korean Zombie, we could have easily seen you slot in there. Of course, as you said, they went in a different direction. I know you're not big on predictions or anything, but what do you think of the matchup with Alex and Ilia Topuria? It's an interesting fight. Ilia's been on a great run. And there's a world where you fight the winner of that later this year potentially. So like, what do you think of that matchup? Because I know a lot's been made about Alex coming back, from the knockout. You've dealt with things like that in your career, concussions and things like that, and it is a little scary. And that was my one concern. To get a knockout and then come back 5 months later. Like I understand there's no right or wrong way to do it, but I was like, maybe it's a little quick. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, I think Alex is Alex. It's hard to bet against a guy. If you're a betting man, how do you bet against him? At the end of the day, I think Alex's coaches them is smart. They know what they're doing. I think if Alex don't get hurt in training camp for this fight, I think it'd be fine. And I think their coaches are smart enough to think, Eugene them and his whole core group, they're all smart guys, and I think they're not going to set up Alex for failure. They're going to set him up for success. So I think so. If the fight goes through, everything happening, that means Alex had a great camp, and I think he'd be fine. I think the fight would be fine. I know Taporia is a killer. He's a killer in every way of the sense. He's a young guy, but we see what happens. How much time somebody's supposed to do something to me, all these younger guys, and then I go out there, I have a great fight. So at the end of the day, we have to see what happens. I hate picking fights, but if I was a betting man, it's hard to bet against Alex, but I can understand why people are going to Poria.
You know what I love about you, Max, is because you're such a good dude and you're such an honorable guy. Like there's a world right now where I could see you being like, if you were another guy, you'd say, man, I'm rooting for Topuria because you guaranteed, like you haven't fought him yet, so it's pretty much a guarantee you'd get that title shot. And we understand the narrative with you and Alex, and I'm sure deep down inside that's the one you really want because you want to avenge that loss. But the fact that you're saying that, like that's the kind of dude you are. Like you're not sitting there saying, "Oh man, I hope Ilia wins" or "I want him to win." Like you're being honest and saying you think Alex probably got a good shot at it. And I appreciate that about you because like instinctually, I get it if you said, "Man, I want Ilia to win. Go Ilia." You know what I mean? But you understand that.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. This generation, like I said, I've been saying it coming all the way up to the Korean zombie, fighting guys like Korean, fighting guys like even Justin. We're the last of a dying breed, man. Last of a dying breed. You don't need this shit talking, the way people are going, the way people are handling themselves on social media or in the media period. You don't need none of that. Let your fighting talk for yourself. And I understand about trying to hype a fight and sell pay-per-views, but some people is crossing the line lately, and it's just not cool, man. It's just fucking, it's insane to me, And at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep a level head and see the eyes, and I believe the best should fight the best. You know what I mean? Yeah, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're only saying this because you're on the L side." Like, brother, if I was on the W side of stuff and I had to fight somebody 5 times, like, holy shit, like, come on, like somebody else beat this guy. You know what I mean? But if you guys want to see me fight him 10 times, then I'm going to do it because you guys can't do it. I'll show you guys how to get it done. So at the end of the day, I think the best should fight the best. We're in the UFC, and the UFC is considered the best people, the best fighters in the world. And if you're the best fighter in the world, then it should keep on showing,
Yeah, you said that right there, and I appreciate you said that. You talk about the trash talk. Like, we've had interviews in the past, like when we were talking about fighting Connor, and you had some fun with that. You had some fun kind of calling him out and kind of doing that kind of stuff. But it was all, respectful, but having fun with it. And my buddy Matt Brown said this to me the other day. He was saying that, where trash talk is today, trash talk that's entertaining is fun. But when it crosses that line, it gets uncomfortable. Yeah, I think that's the difference we're seeing today, where it's not entertaining. Like it's not entertaining anymore. It's just getting to the point where we like kind of cringe and we're not enjoying it anymore. Like that's where we're at today, and that's not good.
Not good at all. Not good at all. It's not helping. A lot of these guys in our sport is like, oh, why can't we get this sponsor? Why is the NFL or NBA or blah 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 MLB? They're comparing us to other sports leagues that's huge and stuff. I'm like, brother, like you see anybody talking wild like that or doing things, stepping online, saying shit, like at the end of the day, it is what it is. If you want those, you got to carry yourself a certain way, and a lot of guys got to understand with us being mixed martial artists it's super hard. We're already behind, we're already behind of trying to get this stuff done. And just because of the sport we're in, so we got to be a little bit little bit extra smarter about certain stuff, but we see what happens. It is what it is. People gonna push their narrative, push what they want to do, and look, I ain't got nothing against it. You know what I mean? But that's just not for me. And it doesn't kick it with me. So at the end of the day, if you want to do that, it's cool, bro. I ain't hating on you, but stop acting like why ain't I getting this, and this? It's because of you're doing this. So that's just it.
Yeah, I mean, even Connor's gone that far, and I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, he's the funniest, most creative guy. Then he starts talking about Poirier's wife, and I'm like, dude, like, what happened, man? Like, I was all about the red panty night stuff, but now you're going too far. Like, that's a little bit too much, man.
Yeah. Some people, man. Some people.
But it's got to be more fun. Like, I don't know. You tell me. Like, you not really, because you are genuinely a good dude and genuinely just like an old school fighter. Generally, you've not really walked into fights where guys are trying to trash talk you, but do you appreciate when you get a guy like Gaethje who's just the same way, man? You guys are built, like you guys are cut from the same cloth. You're just going to go in there, be warriors, and it's going to be a hell of a fight. And listen, man, I appreciate you doing this interview with me because in reality, you don't need to sell this fight. We know what this is going to be. Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, I'm buying him the pay-per-view tomorrow.
Thank you. No, thank you for that. And yeah, that. Right, you know what you get when you get with a Justin Gaethje or myself on the card. You know what you're gonna get, and I'm just excited. I'm excited, man. April 13th can't come soon enough, and I can't wait to go out there and put on a show for you guys.
Absolutely. Last thing before I get you out of here, Max, I see right behind you got some of the shoe collection. You can't see mine behind me. I just recently picked up, I don't know if you saw this, I know you're a big sneakerhead. I just recently picked up the new New Balance Joe Freshgoods. That's my biggest addition to my sneaker collection recently.
Yeah. I saw those are nice. Those are clean.
So I'm curious. What's the big latest addition to the Max Holloway sneaker collection?
Man, I didn't really pick up. Actually, I got it's right there, the red ones. It looks like it's Jordan 1s. It looks like Chicago's, but it's not. It's like a Japan one though. It's like somebody from Japan actually made it and created their own and sold all kind of different stuff on it, which is pretty sick. I don't know what the brand is, but it's at this store and I saw it and I was like, oh, I gotta get this. So that's probably my latest pickup.
What's your favorite Jordan? I'm a Jordan 1 guy. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not like a Jordan 4. I'm a Jordan 1 guy.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be a Jordan 1 guy, man. So clean, different colors, everything. You can get anything for any outfit. So I'm a Jordan 1 guy too.
Yeah, I love it, man. I don't have the bankroll to buy a lot of sneakers, but like when the for Joe Freshgoods came out, I was like, all right, I gotta have that one. That's one I'll spend the money on right there. But yeah, I'm a Jordan 1 Dunk Nike Dunk Low guy myself. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Well, Max, I tell you what. Now I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I certainly would never do that. But I feel like I don't have to tell you this. UFC 300 T-Mobile Arena. I gotta hear Hawaiian Kickboxer. Please tell me you're still gonna do that for the big card. Like that's like iconic. It's got to be the Max Holloway walkout with the Hawaiian Kick. But you're still planning on doing that, right?
Oh, brother, I'm not ever. I mean, we always put something in front of it, but Hawaiian Kickboxer is always finishing out the walkout. So at the end of the day, I'm not gonna let you down. Hawaiian Kickboxer is gonna be a part of it. It's been a part of me for so long. You can't do it. You can't go any other way.
I love it. Max, it's always a pleasure to catch up, man. Have a good training camp. Cannot wait for April 13th. Whether or not you guys are the headliner, as I said, you're the people's main event. I can't wait for this fight. No one's going to. We're all excited for this. So thank you for taking the time, man. I appreciate it. And best of luck in the fight. Not that you need it, but best of luck in the fight, man. Can't wait for April 13th.
Thank you, brother. I see you there.